The salt spray stung my face as I stared out at the endless expanse of the Pacific. San Diego was beautiful, no doubt, but tonight, all I felt was a gnawing emptiness that mirrored the vast ocean before me. Alaric, a 43-year-old IT specialist, was supposed to be enjoying a peaceful evening after another grueling week of debugging code. Instead, I was wrestling with a truth so ugly it threatened to consume me. It had started subtly, almost imperceptibly. My wife Brant had always been independent, a successful real estate agent with a vibrant social life. But lately, there had been a shift. Late nights at the office became more frequent, hushed phone calls were quickly ended when I entered the room, and a general air of distraction hung about her like a persistent fog. I tried to brush it off, attributing it to the pressures of her job, but a nagging unease persisted. Then came the girls' trip to Cabo. Braun had been planning it for months with her friends, a weekend getaway to relax and unwind. I encouraged her to go, thinking she deserved a break, but something about it felt off. The itinerary was vague, the enthusiasm seemed forced, and the constant reassurances that I shouldn't worry felt, well, worrying. My gut screamed at me. I hated that feeling, the feeling of betrayal and hurt. It was a stupid thing that tipped me over the edge. She had left her tablet at home, something she never did. It was in the kitchen, charging on the counter. It pinged with a new message. I told myself to ignore it to respect her privacy. But the seed of doubt had already been planted and it had taken root. With trembling hands, I picked up the tablet and unlocked it. I knew her password, our anniversary date. She hadn't changed it. A wave of nausea washed over me as I navigated to her messages. There it was, a conversation on WhatsApp with a contact labeled Ricardo Beach House Project. The messages were explicit, graphic, heartbreaking. They painted a picture of a passionate affair, a secret rendezvous at a beach house she claimed was for a potential client. The images, God, the images. Brant, the woman I loved, the woman I had built a life with, was in the arms of another man, her face radiant with a happiness I hadn't seen in years. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. The air left my lungs and I stumbled backward, knocking over a vase. The sound of shattering glass echoed in the sudden silence, a fitting soundtrack to the destruction of my world. I spent the next few hours in a daze, rereading the messages, each word a fresh stab wound. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I couldn't understand how the woman I thought I knew could be capable of such deception. As the initial shock subsided, a cold anger began to simmer within me. I needed to know more. I needed to understand the depth of her betrayal. So I did something I never thought I was capable of. I hired a private investigator. His name was Quentin, a gruff, no-nonsense man with a weary look in his eyes. I told him everything, showed him the messages, and asked him to find out the truth. He didn't judge, didn't offer platitudes, just nodded grimly and said, "I'll get you the answers you need, Mr. Line." The next few days were agonizing. I went through the motions of my life, pretending everything was normal while inside I was crumbling. Brant returned from her girls' trip refreshed and relaxed, showering me with affection. The hypocrisy was almost unbearable. "Did you have a good time, honey?" I asked, my voice strained. "It was amazing," she gushed, her eyes sparkling. "We laughed, we relaxed, we drank too much tequila. You should have been there." I forced a smile. Maybe next time. Little did she know, next time would never come. Quentin called me a week later. "I have something you need to see, Mr. Line," he said, his voice grave. "Can you meet me at my office tomorrow morning?" I arrived at Quentin's office, a dimly lit, cluttered space above a pawn shop, feeling a sense of dread. He led me to a small room and inserted a USB drive into his computer. "This is what I found," he said, clicking on a file. The screen flickered to life, displaying a series of photos and videos. My stomach churned as I watched Brant and Ricardo together at the beach house. It wasn't a potential client meeting place. It was their love nest. The videos were intimate. There were photos of them laughing, holding hands, and kissing on a yacht. A yacht. "The yacht belongs to Ricardo Castillo," Quentin explained. "He's a wealthy businessman from Mexico. He owns several properties in the area, including the beach house." I felt a surge of rage, so intense it threatened to overwhelm me. Not only was Brant cheating on me, but she was doing it with a wealthy man living a life of luxury on his dime. The betrayal was compounded by the sheer audacity of it all. I want everything, I said, my voice trembling with anger. I want every detail, every transaction, every lie she's told me. I want to expose her for who she really is. Quentin nodded. I understand, Mr. Line. I'll get you what you need. Over the next few weeks, Quentin meticulously gathered evidence. He uncovered financial transactions, emails, and phone records that confirmed the affair and revealed the extent of Braunt's deception. He even managed to get a copy of a prenuptial agreement Braunt had drafted, attempting to protect her assets in case of a divorce. It was clear she had been planning this for a long time. The weight of the evidence was crushing, but it also fueled my resolve. I wouldn't let her get away with this. I wouldn't let her destroy my life without a fight. The time had come for the confrontation. I waited for Braunt to come home from work, my heart pounding in my chest. When she walked through the door, her face lit up with a smile. "Hey, honey," she said, kissing me on the cheek. "How was your day?" "It wasn't interesting," I replied, my voice flat. I led her to the living room, where I had laid out all the evidence. Quentin had gathered the photos, the videos, the financial records, the prenuptial agreement. Braunt's smile faltered as she took in the scene. Her eyes widened in disbelief as she recognized the photos of her and Ricardo. What is this?" she stammered, her face paling. "This is the truth, Braunt," I said, my voice cold. "This is the evidence of your betrayal, your lies, your affair with Ricardo Castillo." She stared at the evidence, her eyes darting from one item to another. Denial flashed across her face, followed by a desperate attempt to salvage the situation. "Alaric, this isn't what it looks like," she pleaded, her voice trembling. It's complicated," I scoffed. "You're having an affair with a wealthy businessman, living it up at a secret beach house and sailing on his yacht. How is that complicated?" "I can explain," she insisted, tears welling up in her eyes. "It just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far. You didn't mean for it to go this far," I repeated, my voice rising. "You planned this, Braunt. You drafted a prenuptial agreement to protect your assets. You lied to me, you deceived me, you betrayed me in the worst possible way." Her facade crumbled and she burst into tears. "I'm sorry, Alaric," she sobbed. "I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking." "You weren't thinking about me," I said, my voice devoid of emotion. "You were thinking about yourself, about the money, about the luxury. You were thinking about everything except the vows you made to me." "I still love you, Alaric," she cried. "Please give me another chance. I'll do anything to make it right." I looked at her, at the woman I had loved and trusted, and saw only a liar, a cheat, a betrayer. The love I had once felt for her had been replaced by a cold, hard contempt. "It's too late, Braunt," I said, my voice firm. "I'm done. I want a divorce." Her face crumpled and she sank to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. But I felt nothing. No sympathy, no sadness, just a sense of relief that it was finally over. The divorce was swift and brutal. I presented the evidence to the court, and Braunt had no defense. The judge ruled in my favor, granting me a generous settlement and full custody of our dog, Buster, a golden retriever who had always been more loyal than my wife. Braunt was left with nothing but her shame and the realization that she had thrown away everything for a fleeting moment of pleasure and a taste of luxury. But the story doesn't end there. Karma, as they say, is a bitch. Ricardo Castillo, it turned out, was not the faithful, devoted lover Braunt had imagined. Once the affair was exposed, his wife, a powerful and influential woman in Mexican society, retaliated swiftly and decisively. She not only divorced him but also ruined his business, exposing his corrupt dealings and leaving him financially devastated. Braunt, abandoned and penniless, tried to reconcile with me, begging for forgiveness and a second chance. But I refused. I had moved on, rebuilt my life, and found happiness again. I wasn't about to let her back in to destroy it. I learned a valuable lesson from this experience, that trust is a fragile thing, easily broken and impossible to fully repair. I also learned that I am stronger than I thought I was, capable of surviving even the most devastating betrayal. As I stood on the beach, the waves crashing against the shore, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. The pain was still there, a dull ache in my heart, but it was fading, replaced by a growing sense of hope for the future. I had lost a wife, but I had gained something far more valuable: my self-respect. 2 years passed. I focused on my career, spent time with Buster, and reconnected with old friends. I started painting again, something I had abandoned years ago. I even started dating. It was slow going at first, but I met someone. Her name was Aurelie, a local artist who painted murals. She understood me, she listened, and she laughed at my jokes. One sunny afternoon, while on a walk with Buster, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered it cautiously. "Hello, is this Alaric line?" A hesitant voice asked. "Speaking." I replied. "Alaric, it's Braun," she said, her voice weak and strained. My heart sank. I hadn't heard from her since the divorce. "What do you want, Braun?" I asked, trying to keep the anger from my voice. I need your help," she stammered. "I'm in trouble." "What kind of trouble?" I asked, suspicion creeping into my voice. "It's Ricardo," she said, her voice barely a whisper. He's been arrested for fraud and money laundering. And I'm implicated." I felt a surge of satisfaction, a sense of karmic justice. Ricardo, the man who had stolen my wife and destroyed my marriage, was finally facing the consequences of his actions. "Why are you telling me this, Braun?" I asked, my voice cold. Because I don't know who else to turn to," she sobbed. "I'm scared, Alaric. I need a lawyer, but I can't afford one. Please help me." I hesitated. Part of me wanted to slam the phone down, to tell her she deserved everything that was happening to her. But another part of me, the part that still remembered the woman I had once loved, felt a flicker of pity. "I'll see what I can do," I said, my voice grudging. "But don't expect anything, Braun. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because I don't want to see anyone suffer." I hung up the phone, feeling a mix of emotions: anger, pity, and a strange sense of closure. I knew I couldn't completely erase the past, but I could choose how I reacted to it. I could choose to be a better person, to rise above the bitterness and resentment. I called my lawyer, explained the situation, and asked him to recommend a good criminal defense attorney for Braun. I paid the retainer fee, ensuring she would have adequate legal representation. I didn't tell Aurelie about Braun's call. I didn't want to burden her with my past. But I knew that by helping Braun, I was finally putting the past behind me, closing a chapter in my life that had been filled with pain and betrayal. A few weeks later, I received a call from Braun's lawyer. He informed me that she had been granted bail and was cooperating with the authorities. She had provided valuable information about Ricardo's fraudulent activities, which had helped to build a stronger case against him. I never saw Braun again, but I heard through the grapevine that she had turned her life around. She had found a job, was attending therapy, and was trying to make amends for her past mistakes. I often think about Braun, about the choices she made and the consequences she faced. I don't forgive her, but I understand her. We were both flawed individuals, caught in a web of our own making. And as I look out at the ocean, I know that I have finally found peace. I have learned to forgive myself for the mistakes I made, to let go of the anger and resentment, and to embrace the future with hope and optimism. The journey was long and painful, but I emerged from the darkness stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. As I continued my life and my relationship with Aurelie deepened, I could not help but feel a sense of closure. We were married a year later in a small, intimate ceremony overlooking the very beach where I had first grappled with Braun's betrayal. Buster, of course, was the ring bearer. Aurelie filled my life with light and laughter, proving that love could indeed bloom again, even after the harshest of winters. One evening, while Aurelie was away on a painting retreat, I received a letter. The return address was unfamiliar, but something compelled me to open it. Inside was a short, handwritten note. "Alaric, I hope you have found happiness. Thank you for your kindness. I am truly sorry for everything." Braun. Tears welled up in my eyes, not tears of sadness, but tears of relief. It was the final piece of closure I needed. I folded the letter, placed it in a drawer, and walked out onto the porch. The stars twinkled above me, and the ocean whispered its ancient secrets. I took a deep breath, filling my lungs with the salty air, and smiled. I had survived, I had thrived, and I had finally found peace. My story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable betrayal, it is possible to find healing, forgiveness, and ultimately happiness. It is a story of moving on and finding love again. I hope this story resonates with you, the listener. Know that whatever heartache you may be experiencing, you are not alone. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Keep moving forward, keep believing in yourself, and never give up on the possibility of a brighter future. Remember, You are stronger than you think, and you are capable of overcoming any challenge that life throws your way. Take care, and may your journey be filled with peace, love, and happiness.